I'm Nicolette amarillas. Welcome to my channel. I'm an exercise coach and a posture and movement specialist. Today I want to show you the 4-point hip extension. Now, hip extension is technically just a movement pattern. What we're trying to do today with the cable machine is mimic a movement called the reverse hyper, which you could normally do in a gym. Some gyms, though, don't have a reverse hyper machine, and since I utilize tonal for my strength training, I don't have a reverse hyper machine. So this is an exercise I give clients to mimic that same movement, which is a hip extension movement for hamstrings and glutes. But because this is a straight leg variation, it's going to be more hamstring dominant. It is an accessory exercise. This is not an exercise you would typically do at the beginning of your workout. This is more movement you would put toward the end of your workout to support movements like the deadlift and the RDL. Let's do it. Now, I love this exercise, like I said before, because it's an accessory exercise. There's a lot of strength that happens when you work accessory exercises that support your bigger movements. You want to strengthen your deadlift? Of course you have to deadlift. But movements like this are also going to strengthen those bigger movement patterns. Today you'll need an ankle strap and you want to have the hardware in front. If you're using tonal, you'll need a T-lock as well as a carabiner, but you can also use a regular cable machine, of course, and then a bench. So 4-point means on your hands and on your knees. Let's get into the movement part of the demo. So hands are under the shoulders. I like to wrap my fingers around for more stability. And then my toes are gonna be tucked of the leg that's on the bench, again, for more stability. This leg that's on the outside here, this is the working leg. So before we begin, we'll attach the carabiner to our ankle strap in the front. Now, before you start, shoulders back, chest open. And through the movement, I'm gonna be cueing you to tuck in your hips, meaning this front hip bone here, I want it to almost come up towards your rib cage. Not enough to create rounding or flexion in the spine, but just enough to create some engagement here and some heat. I do want you to feel quite a bit of core with this 4-point variation. The movement itself is essentially just a kickback, but there's no knee flexion. The knee is softly bent, but that knee flexion doesn't change. So the soft bend in the knee is the same the whole time. What this does is it puts more stress and work into the hamstring, the back of the thigh. Now the glute is definitely still working, but this becomes more of a hamstring dominant move. I'll turn the weight on just so you can see a little bit more with the struggle. Now the goal for this movement is not to kick up as high as you can. When we go up high, we come into extension, which is an arch in the back, and that's just not the goal of the movement. It's not necessarily bad, but it's just not what we're looking for. I want you to think more about getting your heel to be in line with your hips, and if you can't even get that high, that's okay too. Now, when I come forward, I am allowing a little stretch through this hamstring, the back of the thigh. So I'm bringing this leg forward just a little bit. What that does is it creates length in the hamstring. And then when I kick back, I'm creating a shortness in the hamstring to create work. This is helping me work in a fuller range of motion. And if we can work the hamstring in a fuller range of motion, we'll get more engagement in general. Now, if you're bringing the leg forward though, make sure that you're not bringing it so far forward that your back comes into flexion. We want to maintain the whole time. We want to keep that back straight the whole time and pretty much unmoved. The only movement that's happening is the flexion and extension through that hip. Okay, I think I'm done. I just did 5 gazillion repetitions, it feels like. My hamstring and glute are on fire. So like I said before, this is an accessory exercise. Throw it in at the end of your workouts to help build up those bigger, more compound movements like the deadlift and RDL. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below, start a conversation. I'm here to help you. I'm Nicolette amarillas, and of course, I hope to see you soon.